Hello
Hello there.
there.
Welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of Star Wars in the Galaxy. Today is a very special episode. Why is today so special, Jacob?
We're going to be going over all of KOTOR, and
We're going
we're
to
going
be
to be giving our
reviewing...
closing thoughts. Let's get hyped.
Yeah, we've watched now, it's crazy to think of this, all 6 hours of the Fair Play KOTOR All Cutscenes video.
6 hours. That's
6
crazy to
hours,
me.
yeah, it's crazy. And so we thought we'd take this episode to discuss what we think about KOTOR. And I guess, let's go for overall review first. Jacob, start us off.
All right, perfect. Overall, I am a little bit torn. On the one hand, I think it's a pretty compelling story. It feels kind of I guess I'm not really experienced with like the older generations of Star Wars video games. But I thought it was it was like a pretty unique story to me, and I found it was kind of cliche, and the writing wasn't great. There were a lot of things that could be improved, but I haven't really played it too much as a video game. But as a story, I'd give it like a solid 6, maybe 7 out of 10. Well, I'll say like six, about 6.5. I would say
Okay,
would be
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with mine. For me,
all right.
KOTOR for its time was a very, very, very well written video game for its time. Now, you gotta understand, at the time they were releasing games like Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Starfighter. The first Battlefront wouldn't come out for another year. The second Battlefront wouldn't come out for another 2 years. The Force Unleashed wouldn't come out for another 5. So, compared, I haven't played a lot of the older generation Star Wars games. Compared to those, I'm sure it leaps and bounds them. But compared to the other Star Wars games I played, Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate from I think some people, but Battlefront 2, it
I
doesn't.
think
It
that's
falls short.
hateworthy. It's turned into a good game.
No, I mean the campaign specifically.
Yeah.
I mean the story.
Oh.
I think it pales in comparison to Jedi Fallen Order or even Battlefront 2 in my mind. And of course, there are tons of people who say KOTOR is better than the movies. I'm sorry, I can't agree with that one. And for a piece of Star Wars media outside the movies, even, it does seem to fall short. But again, we do have to realize it's been now 17 years since this game's been released. But like, for a Star Wars story, very solid. I think it has some really interesting messages about the morality of the Jedi and the morality of the Sith. It leans very well into the mythos of the Jedi and the Sith and the battles between them and the Force. It does that very well. What it doesn't do as well is for me, it sometimes has to remind you a little bit that, yeah, we're in Star Wars right now. We're in Star Wars. We gotta have Star Warsy messages, Star Warsy things. We gotta
Yeah.
lean into that. And sometimes it feels like I'm at home. It feels like I'm in that very lived-in futuristic universe. But
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes it feels like, okay, I get it. We're in Star Wars. Okay, I get it. Revan was bad, but now he's good. It
Yeah.
feels tiring sometimes. Terrace.
I can understand how
Terrace is
it
one of my
gets tiresome.
favorite planets ever in Star Wars.
Which one is Terrace again? Remind me.
It's the multi-level planet with the It's with,
is that the one with the rock ghouls on the lower
the rock
levels?
ghouls on the lower levels and the privileged civilians
of
living
course.
on the top. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
an interesting exploration. But then you go back to Tatooine and it's like, okay, we're on Tatooine now. It's interesting because I got a very different vibe going back to Tatooine, in the middle of KOTOR as I did in Chapter 5, The Gunslinger of the Mandalorian. In The Mandalorian, I felt like, wow, I'm at Tatooine again. In KOTOR, I felt like they're seriously dragging me to Tatooine. It's the same planet, and we see some of the same things in The Gunslinger and KOTOR, but KOTOR
Yeah.
treats it like
What made
much
it
more.
different?
KOTOR treats it like it's this special pearl that you gotta see.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, on the
Okay.
other hand, treats it like, look, the Mandalorian's got to go somewhere, and look, it happens to be Tatooine. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think overall, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, I'm going very similar to Jacob over here. Okay, I'm gonna ask
All right.
you
Cool.
a couple of questions. What do you think? I'm gonna answer two, of course. What do you think
All right.
is the best moment of KOTOR?
The best moment of KOTOR.
Yeah.
Maybe the moment when Malik started talking about the Starforge and like why he really wanted it. He kind of dissed Revan, but then he was also talking about how it was more than just a fact.
Starforge is more than just a space station. In some ways, it is like a living creature. It hungers, and it can feed on the dark side that is within all of us.
Factory, how it was like a hub of the dark side. I thought that was pretty cool because did like all this for a factory seemed kind of
Anticlimactic.
not lame, but a little bit just a tad anticlimactic. So I thought that was a very cool moment.
I think that's a good choice. My choice is I remember the first time I saw this moment when I was playing KOTOR, my jaw dropped when when we see in a flashback Darth Revan on Rakata taking off his mask, and then you just see the face of your character, and we realize
that was pretty cool.
that in a past life this guy had gone through. That was just even though I knew the twist, that was just a jaw-dropping moment. It was
A pretty cool.
What do you think?
I have to agree.
What do you think was the worst moment in KOTOR? What do you think was your worst moment in KOTOR?
Maybe the third redemption.
The Malik redemption.
Yeah, the Malik redemption.
Or
maybe the Bastille. I don't know.
I think
It's just like impossible. You can't defeat me. I'm a Lord of the Sith. Yeah, we've heard it. We know.
We've heard this before. Mine probably. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with really any moment in the first hour and a half of Knights of the Old Republic with Carth Onasi.
You were not a fan.
No,
I take it.
it's like with Carth, it's like he feels so guarded, and it feels like by asking him about himself, he like when Revan tries to ask him about himself, it feels like he just punched him in the face, and that doesn't make for a very good character in my eye. Now, I think he warms up a little later, and I think we see some dimension in Carth. But for the first hour, I think Carth is not very effective as a character, especially as one of the only remarkably good characters that Revan is around. What do you think is
Interesting?
Yeah, that's me. What do you think best and worst characters from KOTOR?
Best and worst characters in KOTOR. Ooh, I'm not really sure about this one. Maybe Juhani, I would say, would be one of the worst characters.
I was gonna say Juhani for worst too.
For best, I'm not actually sure who I would pick for the best. None of the characters felt that they had that much, I guess, personality. Maybe it's hard to do that in a video game.
I don't know. I felt like Versio was a very well developed character. But I think it was very hard to do it in a video game back then. But I'm going to give them credit for Canderous Ordo. Canderous Ordo is just a fun character. You know, he's not afraid of getting his hands dirty. He's a former Mandalorian who saw a little bit of the error of his ways and is just trying to make some good in the galaxy. I'm gonna go with Canderous Ordo for myself.
All right, I can appreciate that. Yeah, I guess I would say Canderous as well then.
What do you think was one of the most eye-opening moments from Knights of the Old Republic?
The most eye-opening moments.
That's
interesting.
I I'm gonna go. Can I go ahead and say mine? I was just thinking about this.
Yeah.
When, I remember when we were watching Karth. This was like at the beginning, and Karth said,
Terrace is under Sith control. Their fleet is orbiting the planet. They've declared martial law, and they've imposed a planet-wide quarantine.
that's taken on an entire new meaning for me, as I have now gone into quarantine. And so every time I just hear that word, the Carthonasi echoes in my head. The whole planet's gone under quarantine. It's weird that that scene that should be completely irrelevant to everything has gotten implanted in my brain.
Yeah, all of a sudden now it has like
Like really
all of a
deep
sudden now it
meaning.
feels different when we actually know what that entails. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. I really do. I really am excited about. Let me see. About what's coming up for us. I want to see if I have any other ones about Knights of the Old Republic. Let's see. Favorite planet.
Favorite planet? Maybe maybe Ricotta. Does the Star? I thought the Star Forge was pretty cool. I don't know if that counts as a planet, but
That I'm gonna make that count because like I was mostly talking about location. I'm gonna go with a tie between Rakata and Terrace. I think Terrace
okay.
is really really cool. And I also it's weird. KOTOR's been like seeping through my life right now in weird ways. Not only have I been doing this for our podcast, I've also, I've mentioned the quarantine thing. I've also been playing a lot of Galaxy of Heroes these days. I know I've mentioned it several times. But the newest character I unlocked is, believe it or not, Revan. I just unlocked the Jedi Revan a couple days ago, and so I'm constantly like, wait, which game am I playing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you I have an idea, okay? On a scale of Revenge of the Sith to Force Awakens, where do you think KOTOR falls on the similarity to A New Hope scale?
I'd say like 30-40% similar.
Oh,
Like
I'd
not a
say
huge.
I'd say way more. I'd say like 60% similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
I can see that. I can see that.
it like Malik feels very Tarkin-esque actually to me.
I get that actually.
Bastila feels very Obi-Wan-esque to me. Mission and Zalvar give off a very very big Han and Chewbacca vibe.
Yeah, that's definitely, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it does feel very inspired by A New Hope. I don't think it's anywhere close to something like The Force Awakens, which is pretty much a soft reboot of Star Wars. It just occurred to me I've done a lot of ripping of The Force Awakens in these last two episodes, which is pretty uncharacteristic actually because I do really like that movie. But yeah, I think it's very New Hope similar in that way. I think.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
I also just want to bring in. I just thought of this too. I don't know what it is, but KOTOR gives me a very Star Wars vibe. But what it also gives me, I don't know if you were thinking of this. It gives me a very I don't know how to say it. It gives me a very you can definitely tell this happened before the 9, not the 9, it would be the 6 because Legends, but you can definitely tell this happened before the movies and not during or after. It has a very antiquated, it has very, this is what life was like before.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how they kind of set up some of what happened. I thought that was cool, for sure.
It's interesting, and it's also like, it's weird because it's like some of like the the Jedi seemed very different, but then in their short-sightedness, it was like, oh yeah, this is the same old Jedi, kind of short-sighted about stuff. We saw
Yeah.
lightsabers, but you could build your own lightsaber, which is not really something we saw any Jedi do in the first 6 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like we were in. I think the biggest strength of Knights of the Old Republic is that it blended the new and the old very well.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
Now, I want to address one more question before we end this episode.
Okay.
Which is, why are we not doing KOTOR 2? The answer to that question, and this is going to sound very hypocritical because I know we were trying to cover, like, quote-unquote, everything we can, but I started playing KOTOR 2 shortly after I played KOTOR, and I gotta tell you, everyone regards KOTOR 2 as the best thing that's ever happened to Star Wars, but I hated it. I hated playing KOTOR 2. I really hated playing KOTOR 2. I'm not gonna lie. I think the 3 villains of KOTOR 2 were 3 of the most lazily designed villains ever.
Yeah.
And I think the supporting cast, especially Bowder, Rand, all of the supporting people feel very, very, very similar to KOTOR 1 supporting cast, except for worse because they have even less character development. Don't even get me started on Kreia, because I hate her. I hate her so much. Yeah. She is... I know people love her because of her grayness, but the reason for me, hate Kreia so much is because she hates Star Wars. Kreia is a Star Wars hater inside the Star Wars universe, and I can't stand that. She wants to destroy the Force. She wants to destroy the Force, which is literally Star Wars. She wants to destroy Star Wars, is basically, which is why I call her a Star Wars hater.
Because she like hates the Force, right?
She hates the Force. She thinks it's caused way too many problems in the galaxy, and not enough good. But that was just a quick address to why we're not doing KOTOR 2 and stepping straight to the Phantom Menace. Also because I know, Jacob, you in the beginning were getting a little tired of KOTOR 1, but you stuck on. But I knew neither of us could really take KOTOR 2. And plus the cutscene video from Fairplay. Again, thanks so much to Fairplay for this compilation of...
Thank you, Fairplay.
Yeah, but the compilation of KOTOR 2 was an hour longer than the compilation of KOTOR 1. And I'm like, okay, we did 6 hours of KOTOR 1. We can't do 7 hours of KOTOR 2. And so that is my little thing about why we are not doing Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy Knights of the Old Republic 1, though. I gotta say, when we saw the final scene and like we faded to credits, I felt my heart drop a little bit. I'm like, wow, it's over. We did it. Yeah. We slaved through the 6 hours of Knights of the Old Republic. Do you have anything else to say?
No, not really. I enjoyed it. I feel like I don't have a ton to say, but
I'm excited to get on to...
It was very different.
I'm excited to get on to the Phantom Menace. I'm excited to get on to Attack of the Clones.
Oh, so am I, for sure.
After that... oh, and by the way, we, of course, in the first episode of KOTOR, provided the link to the Fair Play cutscenes. For all future movies and all future TV shows, pretty much, we will be viewing them as they are on Disney+, because that's where we both have access to them. So yes, for anyone wondering, when we eventually, a long time from now, watch A New Hope, McClunky will be in there.
McClunky.
We will have a McClunky New Hope.
Who is McClunky?
Who is McClunky? No, it's what is McClunky.
I don't know what McClunky is. I'm sorry, Eli.
When Greedo, so Han and Greedo are having their standoff in A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
And Greedo.
Oh, is McClunky when like Greedo misses the blaster shot?
No. Greedo
really?
has an extra line before he fires the shot.
Which is
McClunky.
Really, just McClunky.
1 second. McClunky. So I guess that is it for season 1 of Star Wars.
Oh my god!
In a Galaxy.
Never thought we'd get here. But
no, I didn't
are.
either. Here we are. Make sure to follow us. I forgot to say this in the last episode. Anchor, Spotify. Let's see what else we got. Apple Podcasts.
Healthcare.gov. Tinder.
Follow
us on MySpace.
Breaker, of course. We got Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, all of that stuff.
We sure do.
May the Force be with you, and that is
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Season 1
it's
of
over.
In a Galaxy. We will be back next week with a bonus episode. We're doing another one. We've decided we're going to do bonus episodes every 5 episodes and at the end of every season too. So we're going to be sprinkling in a lot of bonus episodes. We will see you next week with, actually 2 weeks because we're recording this just after. But we will see you next week with whatever we decide to do for the bonus episode.
Thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys next time.
See you later.